So welcome back to another Cooper's Leather. Today we are going to make a knife sheath for this knife here. It's one of those wildly advertised different knives on YouTube and over the internet. It came with a it was nice looking, so I've kept the design, but it was faux leather and this is a leather channel. So let's redo the sheath in leather with a little bit of fancy tooling on it. So what more can we ask for? I've already took the liberty of drawing out the stenciling template, but I do need to add a couple of holes just so I know where I'm going to put holes in the future. So I'm just going to put a couple of template holes with my hole cutter just just small ones just in here, just so I know that's where I'm putting holes in the leather. Okay, one of them I can't reach, so what I'll do is I'll just put my awl through it just to make a hole that way. There we go. I'll just do it. I'll just enlarge all those holes as well, just so I know that's where I'm putting my straps, my poppers, my rivets, just all different things. I've got this red window here, so that's where I'm going to put some tooling. I'm going to use a basket weaved stamp, and I'm going to basket weave that. So that's going to be interesting to see how I get on with that. And then down here, I'm going to use some cord I made earlier. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. So this cord here I've made from a lacing machine. If you're interested to see how I did that, just put a comment down below and I'll make a video on the lace. So this is goat skin, and the sheath itself is going to be made out of a nice thick leather from a cow. There are different parts of this knife sheath that I'll be making. I don't know what some of them are, if they've got proper names. I'm not that well versed in the sheath making community at the moment, but we're all here to learn, and that's what we're going to do. So first I'm going to just find a nice area that I can just copy this around, that I'm not going to waste too much of my leather. So probably just here, and then what I'll do is I'll just draw around this with my awl. So you may wonder, what do I use for my templates? And the card I use is Amazon delivery packaging that I get, because I think it's quite nice and thick. I do have some actual plastic stuff that I use sometimes. I have done for the tooling window. So that can stuff dropping and falling. That goes nicely there. So this is the belt loop. Just there. I'll just carefully draw around that. So all these templates are just made out of Amazon delivery packaging. And there we go. Everything's nice and So this piece here is the last piece I need to draw around. I need to cut this out a bit of a thicker. I'll probably cut this out of a bit of excess belt that I was making, because this needs to be a bit thicker, because this bit is the bit that lives here on the knife. So as the sheath goes into the knife, that bit, well, it's the bit that will probably get cut most. So that needs to be a nice thick bit. I've never actually used this knife, so I don't actually know if it's any good. I just bought it because I like the look of it. There we go. How about that? The knife we're going to sheath, we're going to make the sheath by using. Maybe. Because I don't trust myself to use this knife to cut out some of those bits. I'll probably end up cutting my face off. So we just have a leftover bit of belt here, and then we'll just use that to cut this bit here. A little bit. I don't think it's going to be perfect, but we will try our best. And there we go. We'll just finish those lines off freehand. Make it slightly bigger. There we go. There's that piece, there's that piece, and there's two bits there. We'll see how that pans out. We might need to trim it down, we might need to do a little bit more, but we've got the basics down. Okay, so normal truck craft knife. Give it a wee stropping just to keep it on its tip-top best. Last thing you want is a dull blade. There we go. Then what we'll do is we'll cut out this piece here, or pieces. So we're just going to block cut out these bits at the moment, and then we can go round, because there's lots of sort of let's say there's roundy bits, that's what I think the word we're looking for. So we're going to cut down, and we're going to try and stay in the lines, and we're going to move everything so we can get this around. There we go. Because it is so roundy and everything, you just wouldn't be able to get a straight edge on it to get a ruler to cut it. So then what we are going to do, see these roundy bits, I need to try and cut a small round in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hole punch to get a perfect little roundy bit in there. And anywhere there is a sort of indenty, delicate-y bit, I will use a bit of precision tooling instead of just me trying to cut. So hopefully it gives it a sort of cleaner edge. It makes it look a little bit nicer than. So I'm just trying to follow as close to this line as possible. If I go slightly outwards, I could always give it a quick sanding with my favourite little emery board, wherever that may be. So I'll just give it a quick file down just to make it go back to its sort of, keep it to the line, or I'll trim it a little bit more, but we'll do something. We'll figure something out. When cutting and anything with leather, it's all down to experience and practice. You know, how's the best way to do something, you know. Is that the best way of doing it, or is there a better way to do it? But the only way you can find those sort of things out is trial and error, or a lot of YouTubing videos. But with, you know, watching YouTube, some people find it a lot easier to learn by practice. I'm not a very theory orientated person. I learn by doing and practicing and making mistakes and wondering, is that the best way to do stuff? Or, you know, it's one way for one person may not be the way it works best for you, but they can give you some direction on a way to get yourself started, and then figure it out from you. You know, there's so there are sort of different ways you can stitch leather. You can the most common, strongest one that everybody uses is a saddle stitch, and you know, there's a technique of saddle stitching, and then I still saddle stitch, but I do it a little bit differently to how you see most people do it. You know, they cross over and whatnot. They cross I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I do it differently to most people. Just, you know, it's just variations of a method. It's not, I'm not doing it wrong. I'm just not doing it how people generally sort of tend to do it. Because if I was a smart man, I would go into my equipment and I'd find a half round stamp that I could have cut that out with. But I didn't think of that because I'm not well versed in making stuff yet. See, I could have just got that out and that would have been a bish bash bosh, perfectly roundy, perfectly round. There we go. Let's just neaten that up. We'll just neaten that up very quickly now by bashing it with something, with my hammers. Or we'll just use a little bit of force on it. So we know that we are, there we go, we've made the little, there we go. And then what we can do is just clean that up now. There we go, bish bash bosh, that looks a lot better, maybe. Okay, there we go. So we just need to sort this little bit out here. So we'll go to this and we'll find our large holy cutlery bit. And then we might need to go a little bit bigger, but that gives us a nice round to start off with. There we go, it's nice and round, and then what we'll do is we'll just nick that bit out as well. That's the bit we said we're going to do earlier. There we go. And then we'll just clean it up a bit. There we go. So then we can just cut this bit out here. So it's just little things like that that just seem to make it makes it difference between handmade and homemade. So you can get stuff that's handmade and it's lovely, and then you get the stuff that's homemade and then you wonder to yourself, oh, you know. So that what we're going to do is we're just going to clean these edges off a little bit now, just a wee bit, using an emery board. We're just going to neaten it up a bit, just make it look a little bit more like it's supposed to be. I'm not too worried about these edges down here because we're going to put a a lace around it. We're going to do a double sort of fancy edgy thing on it, but we do need to sort this edge out here because we are going to burnish this bit. What we'll do is we'll put a nice roundy bit on this bit and then we'll burnish it up, make it look all shiny and nice. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to find out, maybe we need to put a rivet hole, so that will fold round. Oh, there's something going on with the camera. So that will fold round like that, and that'll be the back. That's the back, and then you got the, so that will go round, although they just meet up like that. That will go like that, so it's just a small little sheath. That'll go around, that'll get clips there, there'll be a belt loop there, but I'm just going to put a very small hole in where I need to put some holes just now, just so I remember where they need to be. So we'll just use our smallest one that we used on the template, just so we know where we need to put them. One there, one goes there. Okay, so these ones are the important ones because they're the ones that need to match up. So you got this one and this one, they need to match up because they're going to be the poppers, the rivets, the poppers, yeah. So that's going to be the opening and closing mechanism. The ones here, as long as I've got a reference hole, and then I can get those married up with the belt strap, everything should be all right. So as long as I've got a marking hole that I know that needs to, where it semi needs to be. So let's just put this away for now. There we go. And let's get the belt loop cut out. For the belt loop, I'm going to secure it with copper rivets. I've used brass. I've used brass in. So we didn't learn by our mistakes earlier, did we? Punch it, put holes in it in the centre with our awl, and then either side just to make it larger, just so we can see it. There we go. Bish bash bosh. Okay, so that's the main bit and the other bit, and now we just need to do the bit that goes through the centre. We'll give that a wee clean up as well. If I find my little clean emery board thing that I probably put down and now it's hidden. Okay, there it is down there. So we'll just give that a wee clean up. What we're going to do is draw our tooling template, because we're going to put a stamping device onto it, which they call tooling. Now I've got this template here, and then I will use my awl and draw around this bit here. That is going to be our tooling window, because we're going to, these are the bits that are going to get burnished, and obviously let's just keep them nice and neat. Keep your finger out the way from the skiver as well, because obviously that's sharp, because that's taking skinny bits of leather off, because skinny bits of leather equals big chunks of human skin. You could actually just skive round here just so the lacing that we made will sit nicer. Things will always sit nicer on rounded edges than they do on square, in my opinion. Not too important to do the inside of this one, because that's the inside here will obviously be sat there, and you want to try and keep that as probably as flat as possible. Okay, so we've made the edges a little bit rounder that side. Now we just need to go round. Not interested about this bit, because that's the bit that's going to be sat against the leather bit that protects the actual stitching bit from the blade. So one day I might actually know what that's called. If you know what it's called, leave a comment down below. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dampen the leather, and then we're going to tool it. We're going to have to do that on the floor because the table wobbles. Okay, so all I've done is I've done a very faint line across the bit where I want to. So it's just a line, sort of guideline, so I can keep the stamping tool on a sort of on a line. So what you want to do is you want to dampen this off, and then you want to just let it sort of go back to its similar color to what it started off as. And then what you do is you start where you want to start. Let's start about that. Tap it. You want to move it at sort of different angles. Then you want to line it up. It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait. Okay, there we go. We have done a really bad job of tooling, but that's my first sort of tooling on a bit like this, so I will forgive myself. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to let that dry, and we're going to put the studs in here and everything. So we might as well stay down here and do it from down here, because we're going to need to do some banging again.
If I open up my eyes, I can see the sky.
Happy days! There we go, there's the push studs in. Let's just put this away. Next thing we're going to do is put our belt strap in. Okay, so we've just quickly burnished that bit there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plug one in like that and then one in like that. So it's flipped over a bit. So now what we're going to do is use these brass rivets. No, these are copper rivets in fact. They're just flat-headed copper rivets. I thought it would be nice because eventually they might turn green, and this is an outdoors knife, so maybe my madness may come back and bite me in the behind, but at the moment I think it's quite a nice idea. So what we're going to do is probably flat side on the inside, so there's less to rub against the knife itself. And then what we're going to do, flat side again down. Push that in. Okay, so all we need to do now is put a line across there for where we're going to put our stitch line. 2/16 of an inch. Score that all the way around. Ooh. Okay, so that is where we're going to put our score lines. That's our edge. What we're going to do is quickly burnish this bit here. Okay, so we've got the poppers in, we've got the belt loop in, we've done the really bad tooling. Next thing we need to do is now fit in this bit here. That needs to fit in all the way along here, like that, and then come nicely like that. So what I'm going to do is just trim this again. So we've just done a mock-up there. Does that work? That clips. Time for the glue up. So we're just going to use some clear contact adhesive. Okay, so there we just need to let that glue dry a little bit more. We'll just do another setup again. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do, is we'll just get that, whilst that's drying there, we'll get this wet moulded there, and then we can get, whilst that's happening, we can clean it up a bit and get it wet moulded. Okay, so now we are at this stage here. So I've just burnished this up a little bit, just in case you can see through the cordage that I'm going to put in. So here is the cord I'm going to put in. I'm going to have to put some holes along this line here, and then we're going to use this to put through. So it's a bit irregular shape, but it should do. Okay, so just bear with me. I'm going to go punch some holes into this, and then we'll start doing the stitching. So now we're just going to go use our homemade lace, and we're going to try and do our double fancy lacing technique. So what we're going to do is this is going to come through all the way through. Well, not all the way through. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tail at the end. Okay, just a little bit of a tail. What we're going to not get everything wrapped up again. Let's move everything out of our way. So what we're going to do is then this is going to come back over. Just going to run it through our fingers. And then go through our next hole. Put through with our, so I've just got here a pair of nylon pliers just so I don't damage the needle, because I've been using a pair of needle nose. I don't want to damage my needles anymore. So that's going to go through like that. That there is our first one. And then through, around, through. So there we go. It's been hard. It's been an learning experience. My homemade cord snapped, as you probably saw during that time lapse. But to say that's the first time I've done a double braided anything, I think I haven't done too badly. Let's see how it fits. It's a bit tight, but slight little bit of cuttage in, but that keeps it nice and keeps it in nice. That button. There we go. One new sheathed knife with a corded braid. Happy days, eh? If you like what you see, like, subscribe, and even leave a comment down below. And if you see anything I've done really wrong, just let me know. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Cooper's Leather.